Have you ever heard of a place so mysterious, so full of strange rituals, that it blurs the line between myth and reality? Today, we're venturing into one of the most mystifying corners of the world, Benin, West Africa. This country is home to the largest voodoo gathering on Earth, where dark magic, powerful rituals, and even human sacrifice are said to exist. But is this all real? Or is it an elaborate illusion designed to deceive? Let's dive deep into this world of sorcery and uncover the shocking truths behind black magic and voodoo practices in Benin. As we arrive in the heart of Benin, a country steeped in mystery and ancient traditions, we find ourselves surrounded by an unsettling sense of both curiosity and fear. The air is thick with anticipation as we're about to witness something few outsiders have ever seen firsthand. This is not a place for the faint of heart. We've heard of the unimaginable practices that happen here, rituals that involve children, animals, and dark forces beyond comprehension. But are these just rumors? Or is there some truth to these chilling stories? Our journey begins in the bustling market of Cotonou, Benin's largest city, a place where you can find everything, that is, used for magic and witchcraft. Voodoo is deeply rooted in the culture here, and it's clear that many locals rely on it not just for rituals, but for healing, protection, and even vengeance. As we walk through the voodoo market, we see strange and disturbing items for sale: feathers, snake skins, skulls of dogs and other animals, and yes, even human hair. The air is thick with the pungent smell of decay, and everywhere you look there are reminders of the dark world we've entered. But we're not here just to witness the market. We're here to understand the people of Benin and their connection to these dark practices. To do so, we travel outside the city to a village on the water, Ganvi. This floating city, known as the Venice of Africa, was once home to people who escaped the horrors of slavery centuries ago. Today, they live their lives in peace, surrounded by water, in a place that feels both ancient and modern. With a population of 35,000, this community has its own way of life. But even here, the shadows of history linger. Benin, once known as the Slave Coast in the 17th century, is a place where the scars of the past are impossible to ignore. Its history is intertwined with the legacy of the transatlantic slave trade, which still haunts the country today. Although the country gained independence from France in 1960, the influence of its former colonizer remains deeply ingrained in its culture, language, and economy. Despite these historical challenges, Benin's people have persevered, and their resilience is apparent in places like Ganvi. However, our mission is not to simply observe life in this unique village. It's to uncover the truth about the dark magic that pervades the country. We're about to witness rituals and ceremonies that few outsiders ever get to see. After securing permission and paying a hefty sum, we are allowed to enter a private home in a nearby village to witness a voodoo ceremony. What we see inside shocks us to our core. A dog is slaughtered, its blood spilled as part of an ancient ritual. The air is thick with the smell of burning flesh, and we're surrounded by chanting and drumming. But the real horror begins as the ritual intensifies. The scene is chaotic and filled with intense energy. As the drumming grows louder, the practitioners seem to lose themselves in a trance-like state. And then, something unexpected happens. The group catches anyone who tries to escape, pinning them down and sprinkling powders on them, seemingly to bind them to the magic. We can't help but feel a sense of dread as we follow them to an abandoned house where they enter, only to emerge moments later wearing different clothes. But that's not the end of it. The next day, we're taken to a voodoo festival, a spectacle of magic and mystery. Here, the tourists gather to witness the strange, ritualistic performances. As we observe, something catches our attention. In one of the rituals, a child is chosen to be buried alive and then set on fire as part of a voodoo spell. We watch in disbelief as they tie the child up tightly and prepare him for the ceremony. The crowd watches in silence, but we're horrified at what seems to be unfolding before our eyes. Could this be real? How could they bury a child, set him on fire, and then perform some kind of resurrection? For a moment, it seems impossible. But what happens next is even more shocking. The child somehow disappears, reappearing moments later from under the table, alive and unharmed. This bizarre display seems like magic, but we can't shake the feeling that something more sinister is at play here. Is it all just a trick? It certainly looks like one. But the question remains, how do they do it? As we investigate further, we find the answer: hidden compartments, secret moves, and elaborate sleight of hand. The trick is revealed, but the truth is still unsettling. These rituals, these dark ceremonies, are deeply embedded in the culture here. Even if they aren't as supernatural as they appear, they are still deeply rooted in fear, manipulation, and power. As we leave Benin, we're left with more questions than answers. The world of black magic, voodoo, and witchcraft is vast, mysterious, and sometimes terrifying. But as we've learned, it's not always as it seems. What we saw today was a mixture of ancient beliefs, modern tricks, and human manipulation. And while the practices of Benin may be deeply rooted in its culture, the truth is that these rituals have little to do with real power and everything to do with control and fear. Thanks for joining us on this unforgettable journey into the heart of darkness. If you found this video enlightening, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more stories from the world's most mysterious places. Until next time, stay curious and remember, sometimes the truth is stranger than fiction.